Good morning, everyone. Good to see you from wherever you are. Please, I'm sitting in the streets of Jerusalem now. And good to be back, to see you again. Let's wait to people to start getting on, and we'll see where they're joining us from. Okay, I know it's a snowy morning here in Toronto. In fact, yesterday the whole city had a shutdown and everything was canceled. But today, it's gorgeous out there. In fact, walking through the streets almost feels like you're walking through the splitting of the sea, how everything is just straight and the beautiful snow on the side. Walking into school today, I felt like I was walking through the Yam Suf, actually. Good morning, Joanne. Good morning, Helga. How's everybody doing today? Give me some emojis so I'll know how you're feeling. Okay, we'll see how everyone else is joining. It's a little bit of a slower day today because so many people are not going to work. Hi, good morning, Evelyn. How are you feeling, Evelyn, today with the snow day? We're here at school, we're open, and we're back, of course. We never stop studying. Okay, from Esther and Helga, beautiful. Okay, so you're both on. We're gonna start getting some names down for Tehillim. So if anybody wants to give us some names. Yes, good to see everybody. Excited to be learning again. Hi, Korean. Oh, you got on fast today, wonderful. Good morning, Korean. Okay, so we're gonna start saying the names for Tehillim. We're gonna do today's Tehillim. So before we start, let me know how everyone's feeling today. I'm feeling pumped up. I was just back, got back from New York on Sunday night. I had a great weekend for CYP, Young Professionals. It was an outstanding Habitachon for young people ages 25 to 35, and actually my son Mendy ran the whole event. It was top-notch, classy, gorgeous. As I said, 200 young professionals from all over the United States. They learned, they davened, we had sessions, they ate together. It was just a beautiful Shabbat. So I'm pumped up, I'm excited to be back. Hi, Chana, good morning. We're gonna start with the Tehillim, and please add on anyone that you know that needs a refuah shalema today. Yaakov Moshe ben Necha, Yehudis bas Sari, Moshe ben Rachel Reza, Tzipori Hindel bas Miriam, Sarah bas Chana, Chana Dvorah bas Golda Basya, Menucha bas Emmanuel, Sarah bas Rivka, Yisrael ben Esther Golda, Nechama, Dina bas Esther Hadassah, Henya Tzipora bas Chaya Yocheved, Tuvia Moshe ben Peril, Liran Bracha bas Shendel Leah, Rivka bas Chafitza, Isaac ben Sonia, Rivka bas Chafitza, Leah bas Chafitza, Tzvi ben Chana. Hi, good morning, Marilyn. Good morning, Lauren. Leah bas Chafitza, Tzvi ben Chana, Chana bas Freda, Nachum ben Alta, Malka bas Rachel Reza, Yeshua ben Leah. Anyone else need us to say? Or if there's a special occasion, if there's a birthday, anniversary, or a yard site, we'd love to dedicate this class to somebody, and especially for all the people we just said Tehillim for. So we're going to put in our tzedakah. Gidar tzedakah shebikareves es hageulah. Hello, Helen. Good morning. Good morning, Pauline. Okay, we're going to open up chapter Chaf. If you have a Tehillim. And away we go. We have a lot of kavanah on today's davening. It should give a refuah shlema to all those who need a speedy recovery, and all those who need any blessings in their life. For parnasa, for menuchas nefesh, for shalom bayit, right? We need blessings for all of these things. Okay. Lam natseach mizmor ledave yancha din Rabbi Absara yisagetcha Hashem Elohe Yaakov yishlach ezrecha mikodesh u'metzion yisadeka yiskar kol mechasecha v'lascha yidash nesela yiten lecha chavavecha v'chol atzascha yimale Yiran b'shuasecha v'shem Eloheinu niko yimalei Adonai kol mashalasecha Ati yadati ki Yoshia din Mashicho yanei mishmei kachay b'gvuras yeshayminai Elev recha ve'elev asus v'anachnu v'shem Adonai Eloheinu naskir Hema karu v'nefalav v'anachnu kamnu v'nisaydad Adonai Hashia HaMelech Anenu v'yam karenu Sarah bas Chaya. And okay, Darlene, good morning. Okay. Barbara, good morning. Shirley, good morning, FEA. If anybody is calling from out of the city, please put down where you're calling from, where you're watching from. Puts us a little bit in a good mood. Okay, thank you. So I promised you last week I was going to share with you a health story, how we have to have Habitachon. Hey, good morning, Karen. We have to have Habitachon in Hashem, but Hashem expects us to do our hishtadlus. But the blessing comes from Hashem. And we finished off, and I said I was going to tell you the story next week about my brother. Okay, Helga Shoshana Bas Sarah. Good. I'm going to have her in mind as we say our class. You're in Naples, Florida. Oh, Barbara, that sounds so nice. Okay. So let me get to the story. So my brother, when he was about a year and a half, he unfortunately developed terrible symptoms for a sickness that nobody knew what it was. The doctors had no clue what was wrong with him. And my parents went from one doctor to another, from hospital to emergency room to specialists. And people kept giving them names of others, best doctors they should go to, because you have to go together with your prayer and together with your tzedakah. You've got to go to a doctor. That's hishtadlus. Hashem works through nature, remember? So they went every doctor you can imagine. And every single week, my father would go to the Rebbe. This is before the Rebbe was giving dollars. And he would stop the Rebbe on the way back to his office, and he would say to the Rebbe, I need a bracha for Levi Yitzchak ben Sarmendel. The doctors are not giving him too much time. This is my little brother, the one that's a year and 13 months younger than me. And I, of course, don't have too many memories. I was 2 years old. But I do remember that he was in and out of the hospital. I remember the suitcases were coming back and forth. Suitcases filled with toys, I remember that. People were sending him a lot of toys. And my father would go davening to the Rebbe and cry, Rebbe, give me a suggestion, give me a bracha, give me a bracha. And one day, with all the davening and all the hishtadlus, he goes to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe says to him, go to a specific doctor, a big specialist in Manhattan, and tell him the Lubavitch Rebbe sent you. So my father, without missing a beat, runs to the doctors, gets to the office, and he says to the secretary, I'm here to speak to Dr. So-and-so. And the secretary goes, well, you can't just run in. Do you have an appointment? So my father goes, I don't have an appointment, but the Lubavitch Rebbe sent me here. She goes, well, you have to make an appointment, and we'll call you when the appointment is for you. And my father goes, no. You don't understand. My father, my son, doesn't have too much time to live. I don't have time to wait for appointments. And without waiting, he zooms in to the doctor's office. And the doctor looks up and he goes, excuse me, do you have an appointment? And he goes, yes, I have the guts. I don't have an appointment. But the Lubavitcher Rebbe told me to come. And he says, close the door. My father says to him, the Rebbe told me that you have a cure for my son's illness. He told him the diagnosis. And the doctor goes, shh. He says, I have something, but I cannot give it to you because it has not yet been government approved. My father goes, what? If your son was dying and you knew someone that had a cure, you would not demand the cure? You would not kick and scream and cry until your child got that medicine? Are you kidding me? Put yourself in my shoes. Your son is about to leave this earth, and there's a doctor in Manhattan that has the cure, but he can't give it to you because he doesn't have approval. Are you telling me that I should just leave this office? And the doctor says to him, you're right. but on the condition nobody knows that I gave you this medicine, because I could lose my license. And my father says to him, you have my word. Today, my brother is a beautiful, healthy, strong shliach in Riverdale, New York. He has 3 beautiful children and a gorgeous wife, a successful community. And he credits it to 2 things. Number 1, the right doctor was there as the messenger for God. But the Rebbe directed my father to get to this doctor. As I said before, in everything in life, we need Hashem, and then we need to work through nature. So if you love that story, give me a thumbs up so I can see that you're with me on this journey. Because today we're going to turn to page 133 as we continue in chapter 4. Yep, we're still in chapter 4. And we are going to talk today about a very sensitive but fascinating. Hello, Marlene! You made it on! Mazel tov! Marlene is on. Okay, so we are super excited that Ever made it on. I know Marlene's been trying to get on for a while, and now we're ready to roll. So we have something today we're going to call, thank you, Kareem. We have something today called the test of wealth. That was my topic. And this, by the way, is not just talking about multimillionaires, although there might be a few of you watching. This is talking about those of us that have enough money to do our nails, to buy ourselves nice cars, to buy new furniture. We have more than the minimum. So there's 2 things about wealth. And we're going to discuss the bracha how to get wealth, and the bracha for those that have wealth, how are they supposed to behave in order to really sustain and to keep their wealth. Okay, here we go. Hashem gives us, okay, so let me ask you a question. Why do some people have the blessing of wealth and some people struggle? Okay, I want to see the answers right here on the chat. Why do some people have wealth and why do some people seem to always be struggling? Okay, please put it down in the comments. Okay, so as you're putting things down in the comments, we're going to share with you in our beautiful book, Shaar, Habitachon, page 133. He talks about the test of wealth. And he says like this: Hashem gives some of us wealth because our job is to be that pipeline to help others. Not because we deserve it, because we deserve better vacations, we deserve nicer homes, we deserve 5-star hotels. We could do that with our money, but that's not why we get it. Because most of the people that have lots of money aren't the people that are the most righteous. So why did Hashem give them wealth? We thought wealth is a gift from Hashem. The test of wealth comes to people because Hashem wants to give you the money to be the giver to others. Hashem wants you to take that gift of wealth to share it. That's the only reason why you have the wealth. It's very simple. And Rabbeinu Bachya tells us 3 things here, and I'm going to read them. He says we have to realize why we have the wealth. And this is so crucial because Arlene is saying wealth doesn't always make you happy, and the struggler might be very happy anyways. True. So I have a dear sister who lives in Greenwich, Connecticut. And as I mentioned a few times, the highest per capita of wealth is in Greenwich. And some of the most unhappy people live in Greenwich. And I told my sister she should write a book that talks about how money doesn't make you happy. The only people that are really happy in Greenwich are those that share it, and share a lot. I don't mean a little bit. They share at least 10 or 20% of their wealth. So if there's a wealthy person and they give a little bit to the poor person, they give chai, that's not sharing. That's a joke. We're talking about giving at least 10% of your income, and if you're wealthy, you have to give 20% of your wealth. And the way a person does this is you see your income every month, and after taxes, you look at that amount and you give 10% of that chunk every month to charity. So if someone makes $60,000 a month, and with taxes they get off $10,000, so they're left with $50,000, they have to give $5,000 every single month to charity. And someone who makes $1 million, they have to give $10,000 to charity. That's it. That's the only way they're going to feel with menuchas nefesh, with peace and absolute joy. They'll enjoy their money, they'll enjoy giving, and they'll know that the 10% they gave is not because they're good. It's because they are God's messenger. So this is going to be a very interesting class. He says 3 mistakes that the wealthy people make. That not the wealthy people, but the foolish amongst the wealthy. 3 mistakes. He says the first mistake is in the manner with which he amasses wealth. He obtains that which the Creator has decreed for him, but he takes it through bad and shameful ways. In other words, sometimes he lies or he cheats. And he goes, listen, it's an easy way for me to make the money. I'll make it this way. If I'm meant to be rich, I'm meant to be rich. I'm going to share with you a beautiful story about 2 landlords who lived in the days of Russia. And they had many Jews that were under them. They were owned the land, and many Jews worked for them. And they paid them. Sometimes these landlords were very arrogant and anti-Semitic, but sometimes they were very nice people. So these 2 landlords were sitting one day in the bar, and one landlord says to the other one, hey, the Jews in my community, they are so God-fearing, they would never ever work on the Sabbath. The other guy goes, what are you talking about? If you gave them an opportunity to work on the Sabbath for money, they would work. So the first guy says, no, I can make you a bet. They would never break their Sabbath for money. So the other landlord says, really? You really believe that? Let's make a test. We'll make a bet. I will give you half of my kingdom if what you're saying is true. So they figured out a plan. What was the plan? They were going to sit behind a tree on the main thoroughfare of this little shtetl. And in the middle of the thoroughfare, they were going to put a huge jar filled with gold coins. And they were going to see if the Jew would walk by or he would partake of this wealth, because there was a lot of money for the poor Jewish people there. So they put the wealth. It was Friday night, right when the sun had set, and they hid behind the tree. Sure enough, a Yiddilah comes along. He's on his way to shul, and lo and behold, he sees a jar brimming with gold coins. So he stops. And now the 2 landlords, also called the poritz, you might know the word. If you ever heard the word poritz, give me a thumbs up. The 2 poritzes are sitting and they're nervous because this is going to determine who's going to lose half of their kingdom, half of their wealth. The Jew stands there. He looks from the right, he looks to the left, he can't believe it. He looks up to God. He's like, wow. Then he's standing and he's steering a little more. He walks to one side, puts his finger to his cheek like this. He's thinking. Then he goes around, he looks again, he looks to the right, he looks to the left, he looks up to God, he looks down, and then he walks on. The rich man, the poritz that really believed that the Jews keep their Shabbos, he ran after him and he goes, Yiddle, he hugs him, he goes, you just saved my life. Because of you, I'm going to be able to keep my wealth. But tell me, you kept me in suspense. What took you so long? Why didn't you take the money? You were standing and looking and up and down. What was going on? What was your thought process? He says, you see, I'm looking at this money and I look up and I go, oh, it's Shabbos. I can't take the money. But then I'm looking at the gold coin. I'm thinking, if I walk away, it's not going to stay here till after Shabbos. So thinking to myself, maybe I could sit right here on the jar till after Shabbos, 24 hours. Then I'll be able to have my gold. It's worth it. But then I was thinking, what? I'm not going to go to shul. I'm not going to make kiddush with my family. That's a mitzvah of the Torah. So then I said, no, I'm not going to sit. But maybe I could just stay at someone's house nearby. So I looked around. Maybe there's someone I know that's there. Then I thought maybe I should stand here. I'll go back. I'll come. And I looked up and I said, God, if the money is meant to be mine, don't give it to me by breaking the Shabbat. I'm going to go to shul. And if I'm meant to have this money, you, God, give it to me the right way. Give it to me in a way that I don't have to break Jewish law. Give it to me in a way that I don't have to do something illegal. Give it to me in a way that I can be honest and full of righteousness. And that's when I walked away. And this rich man says to him, not only am I going to give you this jar after Shabbos, but I'm going to give you 10 times the amount. I love this story. It's a mashal, right? It's a parable. But it gives us the understanding that any money we make, if it's not done through honesty, it's not meant to be ours and we won't enjoy it for 1 minute. But if every penny we make is done through honesty, done through integrity, hey, good morning, Ruth. It's done through sincerity. It's done through all the godly paths. Then not only are you going to keep the money, but you're going to get 10 times more. And this is what we say when we say the foolish rich make mistakes. If those people that are wealthy made their money dishonestly, they won't be able to appreciate their money. And they won't be able to have the menuchas hanefesh that one can have with enjoying prosperity from God. You know, they say there's 3 things that can change a person's personality. Have you ever heard this one? Number 1, money. Number 2, liquor. Number 3, studying Chassidus or studying Torah. Number 1, someone goes, changes you? That's not true. I know someone who has money, and after they made money, it didn't change them 1 iota. So you say to them, he didn't make enough money. Got to make more money. Then you'll see it will change him. Someone else says, hey, good morning, Nikki. Good morning, Deborah. The second person says, what? Liquor? I know people who take a good drink, never alters their personality. Yeah? Give them a few more drinks. You'll see it will change their personality. And the third thing is studying Chassidus. People studying Chassidus, studying Torah, it changes you? I know people who study doesn't change them. They haven't learned enough. Tell them to study more Torah, more Torah, more Torah. Then you'll see it will change their behavior. Those 3 things. I love this story. And I love this anecdote. It's money, it's mashke, it's Torah. If you study, if you do those 3 things and you add more, you'll see it will change your personality. So now I want to talk about so that's the first mistake. Now, what's the second mistake? The second mistake that a foolish, wealthy man does is that he thinks the wealth came to him for his sustenance. It came to him because Hashem wants him to live with opulence and grandeur and wealth and all the luxuries in life. I mean, I now have a $10 million house, but God made my business so well. Clearly, he wants me to get a $30 million home and a few homes. Very nice, very nice. But wherever you go with those homes, are you also giving 10%? Because don't forget that a wealthy person that can afford 2, 3, 4 homes can still keep their home and can still give tzedakah. That's the beauty. And I personally know there's one man that I'm thinking of right now. This man supports hundreds and hundreds of Chabad houses. In fact, there must be at least 150 Chabad houses that have his name. I'll tell you his name. George Rohr. Look him up. This man is a multi-billionaire, but he gives multi-millions to tzedakah. And the reason I mention his name is because he is the most humble person walking the face of this earth. He gives tzedakah, and he's so humble. In fact, a few of you watching now have been with me at a Habitachon, the JLI Habitachon. And they'll usually thank him because he sponsors the Habitachon. And they'll thank him, and he doesn't want to be thanked. He puts his head down. He's so gracious. He's so humble. He's so warm. And he makes sure to give 20% of his income. So Rabbeinu Bachya is saying that the second mistake is that when you feel that wealth comes to you is for your own sustenance, but he doesn't realize that why Hashem gave him this sustenance is because he has to do 3 things with that money. Number 1, he has to support himself. Number 2, he has to support his wife, his children, and pay for his servants and the nannies. And number 3, he has to give charity to others. That's the reason why God gave it to him. So there's a funny story about this guy that went collecting tzedakah. He knocks on the wealthy man's door, and he says to him, "Hey, I'm here to collect tzedakah. So I'm here from Israel. I want to collect tzedakah." So the man goes, "They gave you my address? They said that I'm a charitable person?" He goes, "No, they didn't come to you. They didn't tell me, but it's a big house. I assume you have some money to give tzedakah." He goes, "Did you know that I have a brother that has disability? He has 5 children." He goes, "No, I didn't know." He goes, "Do you know that I have a sister that's a widow? And she has also 6 children?" "Oh, no, I didn't know that." "Do you know that I have an elderly mother in a nursing home?" The man goes, "No, I didn't know that." He goes, "I don't give them. You think I'm going to give you?" Terrible, terrible joke. But this is the kind of people that we find out there. They have people right in their family that they're supposed to help, but they don't help. They think it's everyone else's problem. And I say to yourself, wait, what do you think Hashem gave you the money? Because you're so holy? Because you sit and pray a whole day? Because you meditate on God all day? Is that why? God gave it to you to give away. So they don't get that. That's what Rabbeinu Bachaya is talking about here. He says, God chooses a person and makes him wealthy, and the reason for his wealth is that he is God's messenger to support others. I want to know if anybody here, I see Nikki agrees. Give me a thumbs up or give me a comment if you know people like that, or if you feel that this is something that you never knew, and this is something that's interesting to you, and now you realize that this is something that Hashem is giving us a message. You have enough to support yourself, then you have to give. And in fact, even poor people have to give 10%. So if a poor person makes $50 a week, they must take 10% of that, which is 50 cents, and give to tzedakah. And then you will see that you will make more, and you will make more, and you will make more. It's the best investment you can make, and it's the one mitzvah that Hashem says to you, test me. Okay, so so that's the three mistakes, right? Number one, he thinks that what do we say? That the number one, that he thinks that it's coming to him because it's for him to keep. Number two, that he gets it with unholy ways. But in this mistake, he has to realize that he has to support himself. But that is going to be guaranteed. But he has to give to his wife and children. And sometimes, if you don't give to tzedakah, you won't have enough to give your wife and children. And number 3, he thinks that the extra income is for him to keep, but it's given him to give to someone else. So if you're a wealthy person, or not even wealthy, if you're comfortable and you know someone that has less than you were introduced to that person because it's your responsibility to give. And this is a very interesting point, because people will say, this one has more money than me. It should be his responsibility. Look around you. We speak about this all the time. Hashgacha pratis. If it comes to your attention that there's someone that's poor that needs money, it's your responsibility, because you heard about it. In fact, just on a little plug, Chabad Markham is having our charity today and tomorrow. And we're raising $136,000 in 48 hours. And we are relying on everyone that listens to my class, that anyone that listens to Rabbi Plotkin's class, or Rabbi Gitlin's class, or Rabbi Skirter's class, or Esther's class, or anyone that benefits from Torah Tat or Chabad Markham in any way. Today we're asking you to give back. And I don't feel uncomfortable. You know why? Because I am proud that I'm giving you an opportunity to give tzedakah. I feel so lucky that I'm giving you a chance to give tzedakah. So when you finish the class today, go to chabadmarkham.org and you will see our charity campaign, and give. Oh, Hannah gave already this morning. Give and give more. Give more. If you think 18 is enough, no, give 100. Because first of all, when you give 100, we get 200 because it's doubled. But when you give 100, Hashem will give you back 200. You see, it's a win-win. You'll get double and we'll get double. If you want to give 500, for sure. Why don't you do that? And Nikki says she donated and she's so honored that she's been given so much. Beautiful. This is beautiful. You give a lot today. Keep giving for our charity. And you know what? If we make 250,000, $250,000, we will be able to continue with all of our Zoom classes, with all of our lectures, with all of our donations. Our shul is out there. We give challahs, we give packages. We're doing the homeless in 2 weeks. We are constantly building. We have our preschool, we have our Hebrew school, we have bat mitzvah programs, we have bar mitzvah programs, we have senior programs, we have women's programs, young minds programs. Our Chabad house is pumping. Our Chabad center is busy. During Zoom, we didn't stop for a second. We can't do it without money. These things cost. So you are partnering with us. Thank you, Helga. Thank you for donating. You are partnering with us because when you give, you become partners with Chabad Markham. And then you could say, you are Goldie's bud. You're Goldie's buddy because you're helping me to do what we're doing. So if you want to even put down right here how much you would like to give, I will make sure that the office sees that. And I see that, Chana, thank you so much. Chabad Markham does the most amazing things. This has saved my life. Nikki says, my family, the programs, I can't stress enough. Oh, Rosalie says, it's a pleasure to donate. Thank you so much, Rosalie. I really appreciate it. So today's class is a little bit of a plug for the charity. And thank you all for being so kind. So we said the 3 mistakes that a foolish person sometimes gives, right? He thinks that he has to only sustain himself, but that is not true. He has this money, he has to give it. Now, I want to tell you something very interesting. And Rabbeinu Bachaya, actually, he includes this. I find it very funny because this book was written in the 11th century, right? Thank you, Arlene, very much. He says something very funny. He says that what's going to happen with the money, if a person gets a lot of money, and my husband always laughs about this. He goes, people are saving money, but they don't want to give to tzedakah because they're saving it for their kids. Then they die, their kid gets the money, and the kid says, I can't give tzedakah, I got to save it for my kid. And my husband goes, who's that one kid that all these hundreds of generations are saving for? How ridiculous it is. Do mitzvahs with your money. Just take the money and give it to tzedakah. Leave a little bit for your kids, but give a lot to tzedakah. So we always wonder, who's that one kid at the end of the line that everyone's saving the money for? But Rabbeinu Bachaya says something really funny. He says, a wealthy person saves money, and then they end up dying. He says like this. They end up dying, and the money goes to who? Their wife's second husband. Exactly. You don't want to give tzedakah now because you're saving it, but then a person eventually dies. Oh, thank you, Rosalie. Chabad Markham deserves millions for all that they do with such love. Oh, that's so beautiful, Rosalie. So basically, the person saves the money, right? There's a charity that comes up, but they're going to save the money. Then, they die eventually because everybody dies. But then the money goes to who? Their wife gets married, and this second guy enjoys the money. Then he starts going on all these cruises. So what do you save the money for? For your wife's second husband? Rabbeinu Bachya says that. It's not me. I find that very hilarious. But I want to read you some things that he says here, because I find that when you read his stuff, it's really interesting. He says, God has a reason for everything, and it all follows his plan, which is kind and just. And that's why some people have the money to give, and some people have to get the money. The world has a balance. Hashem decides who gets and who gives. I have to tell you a beautiful story. There was a mother that came into school one day, and she tells me her kids had this conversation in the back seat of the car. The little girl, who's around 6 years old, she says, Mom, why did God make poor people? If God could give everyone money, why didn't he give everyone money? So the little boy, who's a Torah Tots kid, 3-year-old child, he says to the sister, because someone has to give tzedakah. Wow. Someone has to give tzedakah. And for all of us watching now, if we live comfortably and we have enough money for extra things like massages and facials and new pairs of shoes, I have to tell you, for example, I was in New York this week, as you know. So Thursday night, I went to speak for the young professionals in Upper East Side. And I arrived a little early. So instead of just resting, I said, hey, I love Manhattan. I'm going to go for a walk. So the Chabad house is like 4 blocks away from Madison Avenue. Okay. It's a beautiful day in New York, by the way, maybe like 40 degrees, which is like +6. And I took a walk, beautiful day, walking down Madison. And one by one, it was a bigger, fancier, more expensive store. Eventually, all I did was just window shopping. But the shoes were $3,000 a pair of shoes. A handbag was $4,000. There were stores like Chloe and Dolce Gabbana, and you could write down the names of those things. I don't remember the names of those very important. Gucci was there. Only the best on Madison Avenue. And believe it or not, there were people inside buying, and I'm thinking, really? You need to hold a $4,000 bag? You need to wear a $6,000 pair of shoes? You need a $20,000 jacket? Do you know what poor people could do with that money? Do you know what a family who's struggling to pay their rent could do with that money? Feh! That's all I have to say. If you buy those things and then you give 10% and 20% to tzedakah, mwah, beautiful. But if you're spending your money on that and you don't have enough to give tzedakah, then this book is not for you. The Torah is not for you. He says that the correct attitude towards wealth is to use it for himself moderately, but not splurge. Nor should he worry about how his sustenance will come the next day. So the rich man shouldn't splurge. He should buy whatever he needs. Yes, live a nice life. Have a home where people could come in, and if you need a nanny, fine. But don't splurge. You don't have to have all your silver vessels have to be sterling silver. Right? Your menorah wants to be silver because that's a mitzvah. But, and you and I, we all know what we're talking about. Use your money with refinement. Make sure you know that there are charities out there that need your help. And the third mistake that a foolish wealthy man is, and we're going to finish with this, is that He wants the thank you. Going back to the wealthy man that I told you that built all these Chabad houses, he hates the attention. He hates being honored. He doesn't want to ever be honored at a thing. And if they honor him, he puts his head down. He doesn't want to be recognized. But there are people that when they give money to, let's say, a family member or to the synagogue, they walk in like King Tut. I just gave the $3 million and I just helped my son-in-law and I just helped my sister-in-law. So thank me at the Hanukkah party. Keep thanking me. Keep thanking me. Come on. I'm not saying that we don't have to thank. We, as a charity, believe me, we're going to thank our donors. Every one of you that donates is going to get a thank you. That's my responsibility. I have to thank you, Rabbeinu Bachaya says. I have to thank you. But for a wealthy man to say, 1 second, you only said a little thank you. I want you to thank me publicly in shul and to ask for the thank you. That's what Rabbeinu Bachaya says is a problem. So I want to read one little thing here. Where if a person withholds his wealth from them, okay, he says like this, there's a deeper teaching here. A person who believes that if he were not required to give to others, then he would be able to keep all the wealth to himself, but not realizing that the wealthy are really Hashem's funnels, and God only gives you when the funnel works. However, if there's no funnel, or if the funnel is clogged, there is no need for Hashem to pour. So if Hashem gives us money and we don't give it out, then that funnel that Hashem gives us that's full of money, the funnel is clogged, Hashem stops pouring in. So it might have been a heavy class today, but we're talking about this. I'm reading to you what the Torah tells us. And he says here, the wealthy are God's funnels, and God only gives wealth when the funnel works. I'm wishing you all a beautiful day. Reach into your pockets, take out your credit cards, and don't just give a little bit more till it hurts. And Hashem today should bless you all. And I'm going to shower you with blessings now. With Banei, Chaye, Mizane, Revicha, healthy children, kind children, respectful children. Children, I'll give you naches. I want to wish you all good health. Any aches or pains should be gone. You should be well enough to go out there and help people. And menuchas hanefesh, you should be able to have peace of mind. Go to sleep at night with peace. Peace with you, peace with your family. Shalom bayit. Wishing you a beautiful week. Now go out there and give tzedakah. Have a great, great day.